Well, hello and welcome all you wonderful people out there in YouTube land to the Texas Special YouTube channel. And for this week's in-scale product review, we're taking a look at this Athearn 50-foot FMC exterior post combination door boxcar, lettered for the Railbox scheme. Now, you will notice that the hue, I guess, of this car is a little off. It's a little lighter than it normally would be. This is Athearn's primed for grime version of this car. So it's intentionally made to look kind of sun faded to help with the weathering process. This is a brand new car that I purchased from Train World, and let's get into this review. So given that this is a new item, of course we have all the original packaging, and to open the box you squeeze in this center locking tab on the front, and you see how easy that just popped right on up. Lift the box, or lift the lid up, and you have the car somewhat exposed. Instead of just a regular little sheet of plastic like Atlas does, there's actually a little lid, a little like plastic cradle type lid. You pop that off, and now you find the sheet of plastic that's meant to protect the car from the rubbing against the packaging. So you just fold that back and the car pops out. Kind of a snug fit there. Alright, so the first thing we notice, obviously, as I said, the hue of this car is a little off. It's not the typical bright yellow that you see from a Railbox model. Again, that is intentional. Athearn did that on purpose. This is as part of their primed for grime version of models. So what that means is if you choose to go the route of weathering like most model railroaders do, most prototypical model railroaders do, the car is already faded as if it's been out in the elements in revenue service for several years. So that's one less thing that a modeler would have to do. The only thing they would have to do from that point forward is add in the rust, add in the road grime, the mud, the streaking, and all that other fun stuff. And it actually is coated with a primer so that you don't have to do that. All you have to do is give the car, I guess, a good sanitizing, a good washing to remove any oils or anything like that. But most of the prep work is done ahead of time. So if you're a prototypical modeler and you like to weather your stuff or add graffiti and things and such, then this is essentially a ready-to-run model that's not only ready to run, but it's also ready for weathering. Aside from the coloration being off from a typical model, which again is intentional, all of the lettering, all of the decaling is very nicely done. You do have these little conspicuity stripes here, which is a nice thing to see on these models. That is an FRA mandated feature that is put on the sides of freight cars and locomotives. That way you have a little bit better visibility. Like when you're coming up to a railroad crossing, you can see the train passing a little better because the reflective stripes of the conspicuity stripes, they reflect your headlights back at you. You can see it better that there's a train passing. You have all of the requisite door latching and declarations cast on to the plug door and the sliding door of the boxcar. And remember, this is a combination door boxcar, so that means there's a combination of doors. So in this instance, you have the plug door and a large sliding door. This car does have, even though it's hard to see, the correct 120 ton, I believe is what they are, roller bearing trucks. They have the correct number of springs. They have the roller bearing, rotating journal bearing caps. Obviously they don't rotate, but they are simulated, they are there. There's no real rivet detailing on this car, which makes sense because this would be a largely welded car, prototypically speaking. You have the door stops in the correct spots. You have a waybill board. You have half height ladders all the way around all four corners. Cast on stirrup steps on each corner of the car. And overall a very nicely done model. Here we are looking at the B end of this car. Now the A end is going to be largely identical minus the brake details. So you have the matching reporting marks and road number. Even though it's hard to see on the camera, it's there, it does match. You have a separately applied handbrake wheel. You have a third height ladder. You have a cast on grab iron that goes all the way across. You have a cast on little crossover platform right here just above the coupler. You have the waybill board, another third height ladder, and you have this nice dreadnought end detailing. Again, there's no rivets on this car. Prototypically speaking, this would be a largely welded car. In keeping with the industry standards for modern freight cars, there's no walkway along the top of the car. There's no brakeman's walkway because we don't do that anymore on the railroad, thankfully. You do have this cool kind of feathering type appearance where the yellow kind of bleeds over into this simulated galvanized metal, which is accurate. They don't perfectly mask the roof off from the side of the car when they're painting this thing. There is bleed over from the paint. So that is a nice prototypical touch that, let's be real, probably saves Athearn and other model train manufacturers a little headache because they don't have to get very meticulous with the paint separation. So here on the underside of the car, you get a good view of the body mounted. Are those body mounted? Yes, they are body mounted knuckle couplers. You have metal, free rolling metal wheels. And you have a fair representation of the air brake system on a freight car. So you have the brake valve, you have the brake piston, and you have the emergency and service reservoir. In addition, you have most of the airlines and brake rigging that you would find on a modern freight car. And you also have the center sill present. You have the various structural features of the underneath the floor. So fairly nice detailing on the underside of the car. Not necessarily like micro trains level detailing, but it's pretty darn good, especially for under 20 bucks from Train World. All right, now it's time for the coupler check. Again, I have the Atlas Southern Pacific GP35 on the track. Given this is a modern freight car, I figured I'd use a modern or at least more modern locomotive. So here we go.